Today's podcast is going to be lit like a tire in downtown Port-au-Prince. We're going to talk about Haiti coming up on today's Hot Zone.
This is the Hot Zone. Engaging with the news in a whole new way, international war correspondent Chuck Holton brings insight into areas of crisis and lets you help those affected.
Hey folks, Chuck Holton here. Thanks for being a part of the podcast. You might notice that you're missing something here on this video screen. You're not, that bug, that ops lens bug is gone. And that's a good thing because we're moving on to a bigger and better platform. I'm not going to tell you all about it right now, but suffice it to say that we're moving the podcast out of ops lens and into a different network that's bigger and better and should bring us a lot more viewers. So that's a good thing. And I'm excited about it. It'll start probably first week of October. In the meantime, if you want to watch the podcast, you need to go to YouTube to watch it because it's not going to be on Ops Lens anymore. I'm still out here in Reno, Nevada, taking care of my mom, and she's doing pretty well. So thank you for your prayers on that. I really covet those. I want to talk today about what's going on in Haiti because, man, what an absolute mess that country has become. I've been following Haiti. The first time I went there was in 1987. And it was one of my first overseas trips ever. It was 1986. First overseas trips. I was junior in high school and I went on a mission trip to Haiti. And it's really started my lust for adventure and desire to travel because it was such an adventure. It was right after they kicked out the dictator known as Baby Doc Duvalier. His father, Papa Doc, had started that whole thing. And when they got to the point where they were so tired of him, they kicked out his son. It was a pretty big mess back then as well. And I recall at one point being surrounded in our van full of people by a screaming crowd of angry Haitians who started rocking the van back and forth. It was pretty scary until our driver leaned out the window and yelled that we were not French, we were not journalists, we were missionaries there, and then they left us alone. But that was a really dicey situation. We heard gunfire at night from our hotel up in the mountains of Pétionville. It was something else. I actually saw a man get stoned to death when I was 17 years old on that trip. I'll never forget that. He was one of what they called the Tonton Macoute, which was the secret police of Duvalier. The people apparently found him, drug him out into the street, and bashed him over the head with rocks until he was dead. That was something else. So that's the kind of thing that's happening today, although I would say that according to people who were there back then, they're saying that right now it's worse than it was in 1986. So there are some echoes of the previous dictators that are sort of haunting Haiti right now. For one thing, Grandbaby Doc, the son of Baby Doc Duvalier, is now campaigning in Miami to see if there's any support for him to run for president of all things. Like the people of Haiti would vote for the son of a guy who was the dictator there. Although it's not that's without precedent in Latin America. In Haiti, as a matter of fact, the son of the former dictator Omar Torrijos actually became president in the mid 2000s, I believe. And there are still some holdovers there, even in the current presidential administration in Panama from the Noriega administration. And so there's a saying in Panama, I've heard people say that they arrested Alibaba and left the 40 thieves. Well, that's kind of what happened in Haiti as well. There's also another sort of echo from the past I was reading about today, and that is, Haiti and the Dominican Republic have always had sort of a dicey relationship. For literally decades, Haitians have been illegally immigrating into the Dominican Republic for work, getting jobs when there was none in Haiti. I mean, Haiti is a place where currently the unemployment rate is 90%. Only 10% of the people have actual jobs in Haiti. That's mind-boggling. I mean, to have that kind of unemployment rate it's no wonder the people are rioting in the streets. They don't have anything else to do, and they're not making any money, so might as well go burn something down. I guess that's their thought process. Haiti is one of the most dysfunctional cultures I've ever seen. And as you know, I've traveled to a lot of places around the world. Haiti is one of the worst. It is without a doubt the worst country in the Western Hemisphere. Some people like to try to blame that on racism. I think that's a hard sell to anybody that's not intellectually dishonest, because Haitians have been running their own country for about 100 years. They're very proud of the fact that they're slaves who rose up against their masters and kicked out their owners and governed themselves. But they've proven over and over and over and over and over again that they are not capable of governing themselves. And that when they do, every single time, the corruption is so bad that the people are the ones who suffer the most. That's not to say that Haitians are not nice people. I have a lot of friends who are Haitians. I've been to Haiti many times. I have friends who are missionaries and have been for a long time there. And there's a lot to love about the Haitian people. But I don't think anybody could deny the fact that the Haitian people have been among the world's worst at self-governance. And that's just the unfortunate reality in that country. That's not to say that other countries don't have any culpability in sort of making it harder for them. In some ways, the United States has kind of helped them to death. I think if you go back and look at what Haiti was like when I was there in 1986, my first time there, and what it was like 2 years ago when I was there, it's far worse now than it was back then. And then look at the fact that we've put, the world community has put $1 billion of aid at least every year into Haiti in the intervening 30 or 40 years. It kind of makes you go, wait a minute, we've sort of bought Haiti several times over. And we with the amount of money we've put into Haiti, we could have pretty much purchased that country by now. But yet it's worse off now than it was before. And then you hear the stories about how that happened, and the stories of farmers who were put out of business by all the free aid that was being given away. If your crop fails, and so the people are going hungry, and the world community says, we got to do something about this. And so they get together a bunch of aid and they put it on ships and they send it over to Haiti. Well, it takes several months to make that happen. Haiti has a year-round growing season. So by the time the aid actually pulls into port in Port-au-Prince, the farmers in Haiti have now raised another crop of food, and they have food to sell. But they can't sell it because how do you compete with free when the world community is there giving away aid? And so the farmers let their fields go fallow, and they get in line for food like everyone else. But all that food that's supposed to be given away very often is not given away because the corrupt politicians in Haiti take the food that's supposed to be distributed and sell it to the people in Haiti that are supposed to be getting it for free. We've seen that over and over, even with U.S. aid that's been sent down there as a gift from the American people, but it's not a gift to the Haitian people because the government of Haiti sells it to the people that are supposed to be getting it for free. That's something that I've reported on many times. So you look at the situation now, you take all of that history, all of that brokenness, all of that dysfunction, and you package it up into the current situation. And the current situation is exacerbated by the fact that Haiti for years has been getting very, very cheap fuel from Venezuela. And part of Venezuela's attempt to hold influence, to gain influence and curry favor with the countries in the Latin American region by giving away or selling very, very cheaply fuel for pennies on the dollar. Well, now that Venezuela's system has collapsed, they're not out of fuel, by the way. Venezuela still has huge reserves of oil, but their system is so endemically corrupt that they have gotten to the point where they just literally can't even produce fuel anymore because the equipment is all broken down. The thing about socialism is that it doesn't take into account human nature, the human nature that people have to try to better their own situation. And everybody wants to better their own situation, and they don't necessarily have to better their own situation at the expense of someone else's situation, unless the government tries to force you to do something that is to keep yourself down, to reduce yourself to the lowest common denominator. That goes directly against human nature. And in so doing, people go underground. They go in the black market and they try to better their situation illegally. And there's no incentive for them to do their job well, they don't have the profit motive to outperform the next guy, to compete against the other people in their market, because there is no other market. The state owns the market. And when the state owns the market and the people are essentially slaves to the state, then the slaves don't have much incentive to work hard. They have the incentive to do the absolute minimum that will keep them from getting in trouble and to find ways to cheat the system wherever they can. That is socialism right there. And so as Venezuela has descended into this black hole of inefficiency and corruptness, it has affected all the countries that bought into that cheap fuel, like Honduras, Nicaragua, Haiti, and other countries around the Western Hemisphere. So Haiti now has been begging fuel from other countries, and they've gotten to the point where they have over $63 million in outstanding debt owed to oil companies. And the oil companies are saying, we're not giving you any more credit. No more IOUs from Haiti. You got to pay up, or we're not bringing you any more fuel. And so without fuel, that island nation has become an absolute wasteland. I mean, it was already bad. Haiti was already like the Mogadishu of the Western Hemisphere. But now there's no fuel. Because there's no fuel, there's no food, there's no transportation. The typically horrific traffic of Port-au-Prince apparently has just gone to almost nothing. And the people are starving. They're taking to the streets. They're attacking their elected officials to the point where one elected official saw a mob coming toward his vehicle convoy and got out a gun and started shooting the other day, and ended up the only people wounded were one of his bodyguards and an AP photographer who was filming the event, which kind of shows that this guy needed to go to the range more maybe. But the bottom line is the people are calling for the resignation of pretty much everybody. Pretty much everybody that's an elected official in Haiti is under fire right now to resign. The Haitian people have had it. They're ready to just chalk up, just lay waste to the entire government. What that does is leaves a huge vacuum of power in Haiti, and that power vacuum is being filled by warlords, by gang leaders who are moving in there. They're better armed than the government. They've got people on their side, and they're taking over large swaths of territory in Haiti and fighting amongst themselves to gain more. Well, obviously the people who suffer the most in that situation are going to be the regular rank and file, the regular people who are starving. They can't get electricity for their generators. They can't get food. And what we're looking at in Haiti is the beginnings of a straight up civil war. And I don't use that term lightly, but I really believe that unless you see some major power step into Haiti from without. We recently had the United Nations peacekeeping force that had been there for like 30 years pull out. So they're not there to keep the peace anymore. And Haiti is an absolute powder keg, and everybody's holding a lit match. So what you see is fire in the streets, people being attacked, people dying in these attacks. The prime minister and the president are holding up in their palace, and the president, for his part, is saying he's not going to step down. He may fire his whole cabinet and the prime minister to try to appease the people, but that it will not appease the people. There's no two ways about that. That's going to be a very, very dicey situation. So the bottom line is pray for Haiti and pray for the people who are stuck there now because they closed the international airport on Tuesday for at least 24 hours. And Haiti is one of the most missioned places in the world, one of the places where Americans send more foreign missionaries than any other place in the world because it's close, it's cheap, and it's a great place to go get your little, Facebook selfie with a poor little brown kid. And color me a little bit jaded because although I've been there on several mission trips myself, I believe that the vast majority of those trips really probably at this point do more harm than good. We have to be very careful how we endeavor to help the less fortunate. One of the reasons I started this podcast is because I want you to be able to reach through the podcast, through social media, and directly interface with me as I go to these places and meet people. And rather than try to send aid to some corrupt official that probably will never give it to the people who need it most, we will go and identify the people who need it most and help them directly. We can't help everybody, but the people that we meet, the people that we help through this podcast, you can be sure are going to be people who need it very desperately, and you can get to know them personally and probably end up following them for years on your Facebook. We have supporters of this podcast who are still following some of those girls from Venezuela that we've helped, and I'm still following them, and we're going to go follow up with them at some point. So keep following the podcast. There's great things in store. Got a lot coming up, and I know you're going to love it. So this is Chuck Holton. Thanks for watching. We'll see you later.
The Hot Zone is produced by Amy Holton and Livefire Media. Copyright 2019.